No. Hooded robin? Yeah, you've done well. Hooded robin. So the diagnostic feature is that pattern on the wing. It's not the male, it's the female hooded robin. It's pretty bland over most of its body. It's got that grey on the breast, dark on the back, but that, if you think about that wing when it opens out, that's a long line right across the secondaries. Can you see it in the wing when it's flying? And that wing, when it folds up, all of those secondaries concertina back together, and you get that nice little L shape or hockey stick shape, which then runs right along. So we're taking that picture of what the wing does as it folds up and starting to see what's happening with a resting bird. So we're all happy. Hooded robin. Now the thing we're going to be focusing on tonight is telling robins apart from whistlers and apart from grey shrike, thrushes and things like that, and them apart from chats. And it's all about head shape and bill size. And robins, if you can imagine a balloon with a little sharp pointy thing poked into their head, that's your typical robin. And then as the bill gets a bit deeper and thicker, you're moving into your whistlers. And then if you take the head that's round and grab one end of it and stretch it out, you get that nice tear shape with the bill on the end. Then you're in your chat territory. And then finally, if you make the bill even thicker and stronger again, you're into the grey shrike thrushes. So we're going to work through the relative size and shape of the bill and the head as we go through tonight. Each time, the first question you've got to ask yourself is it a robin, is it a whistler, or is it something like a shrike thrush or a chat? So that's what we're going to work through. So I'll keep repeating it. So what do you notice about the bill straight away? Even if it's not side on, it's thicker. Yeah, it might be longer because it's facing you, but it's thicker. Immediately you can see that it's a more solid bill. So it's not a robin. How do you know? How? No, you can look in there, yeah. Yeah. Which one? How do you know it's a female or a juvenile whistler? Because it hasn't got the bright colours of the male. But how do you know which whistler it is? Striations on the breast and neck help. There's a little bit of a browny wash down. Yeah. It's the subspecies we have here in southern Australia is rufiventrus, which is a bit more ready through the vent area. But yeah, it's a rufous whistler. It's got the striations. It's still got some of the very brownish bits of the juvenile. So it's not yet the full adult female. Now, with all the whistlers, the calls, we've talked about them a fair bit in previous weeks, so I won't worry about the calls so much tonight. But be aware that we've talked about the rufous whistler, the golden whistler and the Gilbert's whistler, just the differences in the calls and memory aids to remembering them. Yeah. No, can't see its wings. But you can tell it's a chat. It has that bit more of a teardrop face. It's been stretched out a little bit. Yeah. It's actually probably a juvenile, but yeah. It's sort of like a female, but that little bit of red in the cap probably makes it a juvenile. But so you've all found the chats? Yeah? Page for those who don't have it? 393. Now the pictures, you can't see the red rump, but where have I? 14. Now, I think that should say not female but juvenile because it's got the little bit of red in the crown. Oh, yeah. So it's an immature. But this is where this book, you'll start to see the comparisons. It's actually, that's the new book, this is the new book, yeah, and you'll see it's got the immature versus the female. Yeah, it's definitely better. And you'll see the quality of the picture is much better. So, yeah.
That's good, that's really detailed, isn't it?
The quality of the pictures, excellent. Yeah, I should be getting 10%, eh? One of the guys who's coming to talk at the conference is Danny Rogers. He's going to talk on migratory waders, and he's probably one of the best in the world on them. So, yeah, we've done a little bit of talking about it, but yeah. No, they come to the top half of EP. They do come down a fair way, but they don't come every year. I see them Painey Station up at the Gawler Ranges. I see them there quite regularly every spring, but they don't seem to come further south every year. So the last time I saw them further south was when I first got here, which was, 2014? 2013, yeah. I showed you that. the juveniles. Yep. Yep. Work out how you can tell them apart from the mangrove golden whistler. Yep. He's not a tricky one. If you're up north, you get the mangrove golden whistler, which looks very similar, the male anyway.
One in the tree last week in
Around here, yes.
No, Loxton.
Loxton. Okay. Yeah, they're quite common right across EP, and you'll hear them calling regularly. All happy with golden whistler? How about this guy?
Oh, that's that guy down.
You get them around here. Often see them in little groups, 4, 5, 10, all flying together. They sort of have a call that you can get to know. And you need to tell me which subspecies it is. Oh, I should have paid for you. This is the Crimson Chat's call. Yeah, it is pretty. So that's the Crimson Chat. And often when you see them, the males do a broken wing display if you're walking near their nest, so you can actually get good views of them. They'll drag you along. No, that's good. Well done. It's a sitella. Sitella.
What's that one you got all the birds down there?
Which app?
What sort of app is it? Even it costs like, doesn't matter what app is it?
There's two apps.
You're the one you use most.
The one I use most is that one.
Alphabetic birds. Michael Morgan notice. Has that got the noises and everything in it?
Yeah, and then the other one also has all the calls. But yeah, this book that's coming out, they're going to produce an app for that as well, but that'll be a little bit longer. Yeah. The power with the apps is the calls. This is more intuitive, easier to use. A sitella, yeah. And then the other one is
Birds of Australia.
Pizian 9. And that one's got lots more information in it, but it's a bit harder to move around it. Yeah, the Morecambe one's about half the price of this one. Yep. You find that will be really good. Yeah, I just use them all the time. Yeah. The trouble is, if you're learning the birds, they're a bit harder to use. It's easier to use the book. But once you've learnt most of the groups. So, varied sitella, that's a female, and it's pileata, the black-capped sitella. And the black-capped sitella is the one that we get in this part of the world. Very similar. The reason it's called a varied sitella is because they vary a lot, and if you go back into past books, you'll often see that each of these races or groups is split up into individual species. So at various stages in the past they've been split up into species, and then as they've discovered that they interbreed, they've brought them back in under the one species. So 420. And the distribution maps in this are pretty good because they actually show the integrating where they interbreed. And then you've got the different. Yeah, black-capped. So there's the sittellas, there's the distribution map. And there's the descriptions. So we've got the black-capped. And they've got the male and female. You get them. I was hoping to see them out in the sugar gum last week. Yeah, but we just didn't happen to see them. But they are often out there. They're all up through the Mallee country and. So there's the distribution map with all the different types integrating with each other.
The pictures are on there, aren't they?
And the pictures, yeah. Yeah, and they show all the pertinent points. So that's the one we've got, the female and the male. And then that's the distribution map. So you can see how they integrate across zones.
Yeah. West right through.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's not a clear line like that. It's actually a fuzzy.
Very distinct holes in the.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah, wonder why
They don't go there. They don't like that dry country. Well,
yeah, but there's a lot of trees and stuff there still.
that's true. I know.
It's interesting that, you know.
Perhaps it's the
Obviously something.
something else that's there that beats them up and chases them away.
Oh, okay, yeah, well that could be too.
Who knows? Might be the Chining wedgebill. Yeah. Thicker bill, so it's not a robin. Why Gilberts?
Well, because it's got that very dark, so it's got a bit of a hook on it.
No. You should be looking at the breast, throat right down through onto the belly, and when we were talking before about the rufous whistler female and juvenile, they had striations and there was a bit of colour there. This is very plain. If we're talking about the golden whistler, then we're going to be looking not at striations but at yellow appearing down in the bottom half of the belly. So this is not showing the golden characteristics and it's not showing the rufous. It's just quite plain.
Yeah.
The other thing that if you actually look closely you'll see there's a little bit of a white lighter patch between the bill and the eye in that lower region. And that is also helping a little bit. But it with whistlers? Yeah. Now they're a bird that occur across EP, but places like Dark Peak Range, you get quite a. I've had them calling, golden whistlers calling, rufous whistlers calling, and grey shrike thrushes calling, all in the same area. Quite spectacular. If ever you get a chance and you're heading up through Dark Peak, just turn left and drive in and have a look in the there's lovely mallee woodlandy areas through there that are worth going into. Yeah, so that's the female Gilbert's whistler. But be aware of that. If you decided to whistler and it's not the obvious male with the distinctive colouring, then you're looking for striations, you're looking for colouring at different parts, and if both of those are absent, then you're probably dealing with a Gilbert's. It's a young one. You can see it's molting out of its juvenile, its nestling plumage. It's got a short, sharp bill. No, it's not a robin. The bill's too, and the head's wrong. Yes, it is. Metal band. So we were talking about molts last week, and this one's molting into that first basic. So this is the first alternate it's going into. You're starting to feel comfortable with that bill and head shape? Yeah? Not always? You can see the yellow wash down through the lower half. Yep. It's got that stronger bill, so it's a whistler. It's the tacks that hold it there. What you thinking? No. problem. Really, it's not as good a picture as you'd hope. I'll show you the 4 different female whistler pictures for the different races or subspecies. Notice how much they vary?
Yes.
So these are the subspecies of the golden whistler, the female. You see how much they vary? So when you've only got one picture of the female, or 2, it's only a small portion of the variability that you're going to get. You can see it's quite light washed through a yellowish wash through to almost an orangey wash. So there's your female golden whistlers, these 4, the different subspecies. So you can see the different subspecies as you move around Australia. Tassie's different. So we've got the Flaginosa. Right. This one. Yeah, so it's quite yellowish, or even quite plain, with a little bit of yellow wash, just gently. So these are the 4 females. This is the subspecies we have. But yeah, you can see the variability that you get as you go across that range. So there you can see the variation in the females across that range. So as you go from Tassie through, there's what, 6 different subspecies there. We've got this one here. So it's a bit more orangey than yellowy.
So it's got quite a bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can see why it's always been hard. If you haven't got the full range of options, you can get confused. So how we go? Golden whistler female? Yeah. Pretty tough. But you can see the challenge when you haven't got the full spectrum. Female? No.
Have a look at the little thing we dig at dangling and not dongling. What can you make it fly? What was that, Jack?
I don't know why they were arguing with you, man. So, scarlet robin female. Now, nice clear wing patterns. With the robins, the flame robin and the scarlet robin, the scarlet, think of it as being like a scar across the breast. So the red suddenly stops. With the flame robin, it almost makes it up to the bill. It's like it's burnt all the way up. So the flame versus the scarlet. Now with the female you've got that nice white spot straight above the bill and a little bit of white around the eye. All happy? Maybe. So you see the stronger bill? No. It's got the striations on the breast and that little bit of wash down low of colour. Yeah, not so easy to see, but it is there. Yeah. Not white-breasted, no.
No?
Rufus.
Rufus.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at the distribution map for the white-breasted.
Oh, I did it again. Oh, yeah, right.
But they look very similar.
They are.
I didn't look at that.
And when you're in the north, you really have to look.
Yeah.
All happy? Yep. I got to take some nice pictures of one just like this year. Little caterpillar. The challenge I always face with this particular one is how long do I let them go on looking for?
Molting, isn't it?
It's molting, and it's molting into a really lovely brown plumage, which most books don't show. So you get this beautiful brown colour. No, it's that rufusy brown. And the first time I saw this, it took me about 3 days to work out what it was. And it was only when by chance I went back through some of my old field guides that I had, and one of them had a picture of it, but most don't. I expect a higher level of knowledge in this course.
Yeah, well, we haven't got.
So, and it's not there, and you're not going to find it. So there are some books. Who's got? I think your book. Does that show the brown version of the Golden Whistler? No, it doesn't. There is one of the field guides. Someone had it this morning, but it does actually show that browner version. So this is that. Remember, there were 4 types of molting, and one of them had 2 molt colours as a juvenile. and this is that fourth one, where you have a few molts before they reach that adult stage. It's a little caterpillar.
If we just could work out what birds ate those caterpillars, well then you'd know.
Okay, so a golden whistler, it's a juvenile, and it's in that transition molt. This is that perfect balloon with a little pin attached, sort of. Notice there's two distinct bands. There's a band where it transitions from that grey-black to the red, or pink, or whatever, and then there's a transition to a white belly. No, what's the scarlet got in its forehead? So they come up to Port Augusta, but who knows all those people around the corner. So be aware of that. You get them in the Adelaide Hills. They're not that common, but they're there. And a very pretty little bird. But if you're hearing a little intriguing call, go and have a look.
Are they that colour all the time?
Yeah, the robins do. Yeah. So do they have the female and the immature, and then the male? But that nice, neat transition to white on the belly is quite distinctive. Okay. Lovely range of calls, and you hear them often on EP, particularly down south here. If you go into Lincoln or Coffin Bay or Wanilla, this call. And then they have a really lovely alarm call. So western yellow robin, they're a bird that people come over here from the east to see, because ours is the the eastern limit of the western, quite a few western species. So EP gets things that are not found on the other side. That's more probably a bit of light falling on the head as well. You can see the shadow. But yeah, the strong yellow and then the definite white is what tells you it's a western yellow robin, not an eastern. Lovely bird. We've had a few of these up at Woodner. Yep. Can't be much else. The call. This call is a contact call between the male and the female, and you often hear it. It's like a couple of river stones being tapped together. You know what I mean? A couple of quite hollow stones, tap, tap, tap. Be aware of it. Their more typical song is very round in its. So that's the red cap, and you'll get them all over EP. With any luck, we'll see one this Saturday morning at 8:30. So, red cap robin male. I'm sorry about that. That's a really classic silhouette. When you see them calling, they just look like that. And if you head up north, then you have to start thinking a little bit more, but yeah. The males, it's not a challenge down south. The females you have to think about, and juveniles. Notice while you're looking at all the different whistlers that there are quite a few of them as you head north, and particularly along those northern coastlines, so Broome right around to Queensland, that you really have to think about. Very common all the way across EP. Rufous whistler. Okay, next one. The way they hold their tail and wing, a lot of these little robins, it's quite distinctive. The wings down, the tail up. You can even pick that a mile away. Now with the robins, you're looking for the slashes in the wing, hints of colour on the forehead and around the eye. Is there anyone else who didn't sign this? You did? All good? Well done. Well done. It is. I hope. you've got those two distinct bands in the wing. You've got the little hint of red wash through the breast. There's a little bit of white you can just see above the eye, above the beak, sorry. It's a rose robin. You can see those two bands of white. One up through the secondaries and then one at the base of the secondaries. And have a look at it. I think they have it in flight there, do they? No. Okay. That one does? Yep. Okay. So rose robin. The bill looks a bit more solid again. The next step up, and it's all subtleties, it's all a slight transition, but we're now moving into a much stronger bill. Polypipe. Polypipe. Yep. That's the only thing that's holding it there. All over EP. Yeah. No, this is not the subspecies from this part of the world. So there's two subspecies, harmonica and rufiventris. We've got rufiventris here, and the call's a little bit different. If you go the harmonica one, which is the eastern coast, down into right at the bottom of South Australia, they have a bit of a richer call, a bit stronger. And then you come up here and we've got rufiventris. And still a lovely call, but they change as you move across. So this is the call that you're probably quite familiar with. And then the harmonica one, which is the one I grew up with in... Is that a bit richer and a bit stronger? That's the one I grew up with down around Portland. And then this is a call you often hear. If you imitate their calls, they get all stirred up and you'll get quite a few of them around it. And they get very antsy. But it doesn't take great ventriloquist to do the call. It's just a similarity. More than your skill. But they will come over and you can get some of the gullies in the Flinders Ranges, you get 4 or 5 around you, all very grumpy with you. So, grey shrike thrush. No, it's not that same strong, bigger bill that you get in a shrike thrush. Shorter, but solid. So it's the next group down. Gilbert's whistler, a juvenile? Are we happy with the whistlers now? Starting to get the general shape of the head and bill? That's probably the key first step. Can you see it's a whistler and not a robin? Yep, you can see that nice connecting white line that goes around. Yep. And there are other more white flicks that you can't see. Yep. I haven't seen them this far south. They're normally a bit further to the north. But so this is their call. You get them they're just in pairs, and you sometimes see the male sitting up high on a tree, that sort of thing. But the usual sort of robin behaviour, they're sitting ready to pounce down onto something. No, there's a few that look black, but that hood that goes right down around. Yep. No, that's the male. It's just the angle. So you're looking at it from underneath rather than. Yep. Quite a definite call. I'm presuming that they must come further on Eyre Peninsula just in some years, but I haven't seen them. Usually up more in the deserty country. So hooded robin. How about this one? Have a chat. Have a chat? Yeah. Just while we're contemplating that, if you are looking at getting binoculars and you're happy with doing a search on the web using the, or just going straight to those URLs I've sent in the email, you'll see you can order very easily. That's not a problem. If you're used to doing all that, that's no worries. If you would prefer to get some help with ordering on the web, if you've never done it or don't have a computer, come and see us next week, and Ben's quite happy to show you through the process and order it for you as you go through the lesson. So if you want to do that, you just have to be able to bring along a card. Yeah. Yeah, Ben's generously donated. He's good. He's good like that. And in the extreme, if you want to bring the cash, we can organise something there as well. But I doubt you'll get a better deal than the one that is on the web. And as I said earlier to some people, the folk at Woodner have already ordered theirs. They got straight onto it. Yep. Orange chat. Female. And the orange chats aren't orange. I haven't seen an orange one yet. They're usually yellow. Yeah. They might get... No, much bigger than a wee bill. But so here's their call. Think about, remember we talked about the yellows, the oranges and reds and what it was that gave them that colour? The diet, yep. So we're looking at carotenoids in their diet, and I don't know what it is, but typically they come out quite yellow. They do in the book, and many of the books show them towards orangey more than yellow. But when you see the ones I've seen, they've always looked pretty yellow. This is the adult female, and this is a typical chat sort of noise. And so a little bit like the other chat. So this is the white-fronted chat. It's a very nasal tongue. Okay, so orange chat. How about this guy? We got a good look at that tonight. Yep. Now, if you're heading up to the top of Australia, you need to start looking a bit more closely, because there's a few different types of fantails. And if you ever get to see the rufous fantails, they're just the most magnificent thing. And with the fantail call, the call that one of the books I read years ago described it as papery thin, and to me that's just a perfect description of it. It's really not a powerful call. You can sort of, it's there and it's hanging in the air, but just. But to play it again. Yeah. It's really high pitched and really stretched. And you often, you have to listen twice before you really click on, oh yeah, it's a fantail. So grey fantail. What about this guy? Yep. The white through the laws is not as powerful as it was with the other race. White around the beak. You've got the definite striations on the beast, but that big strong bill, it's the next step up from the whistler. So it's the grey shrike thrush. All happy with that? And if you got to see under its belly, you'd start to see that rufusy wash. Notice how the head is a bit more that teardrop. It's not as round as the robins or the whistlers. Not quite. It is an orange chat, but it doesn't look orange, does it? So with the chat, one place I see them often is around Whyalla. If you go out to the sewage works at Whyalla, sewage works are really good places to see lots of birds, but if you walk around the edge there, you'll see them out through that habitat. So orange chat, but they're not orange. They are. They are in the books, but to me that's more typical of what you see. You see hints of orange, but you don't. They're sitting out in the sunlight, they look yellow. And if you are looking at the yellow chat, you're in the northeast corner of South Australia. You're not down here. Now look at the pattern in its wing. There's a hint of red, it's hard to see. There's a little bit of red in the cap. But this is typical, it's dusk, and the photo I took, I just heard that nice little tink tink, so out I go. It's quite low light levels, and but you're not going to see that little bit of red there until the light's bright. Light has brightened up a little bit, but yeah, it's a red-capped robin. It's a female. Doesn't look like it at all. Hmm. 464. Would you be happy with that? See the two stripes in the wing? The hockey stick one, and then the second one through the secondaries. Yep. Can you all see that nice pattern, the hockey stick pattern, and then the white through the secondaries on the edges? You've got that.
Yeah, yours is better. That's better than this one.
So. It's got that faint red wash through the cap. It's a good call, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
I took a picture of the female red cap mother in my orchard.
on the farm. That's nice. Yeah. That nice marking through the wings. Yeah. Yeah. It's really, it just looks a bit dirty in that light, but yeah. What group? Whistler, yeah, stronger bill again. Yeah, well done. Good. And then there's one that looks a little bit like it called the Red Lord. But, well, the Red Lord has been recorded up around Woodner area, but they've gone and looked for it hard and they haven't found it again. But with the Red Lord, it is red in the lores and across the top of the bill, so you can pick the difference. And the female Red Lord has a lot more on its throat that you can pick between it and the Gilberts. So when you're looking, be aware that there has been records of the Red Lord on Eyre Peninsula, but it's probably not the Red Lord that's here. The call's different, but just check when you do look. And if you really want to see some, as I said, the best place I've seen them is actually Dark Peak Range, and they seem to like that habitat there.
One over to Junior almost.
Yeah, and it's an odd record, and mine's got the same, and I don't think it's necessarily valid. Okay, so Gilbert's Whistler, the male, pretty bird. It's a lot quieter than the other two whistlers, the golden and the rufous. So, but when it calls, it's a definite clear. Do you remember the call? I'll play it for you. You could confuse that with the golden. They're all a little bit similar to the other two whistlers, so you need to go and have a look. Okay. There's not many of them on EP, and they're all sort of down south here. They estimate the people that go out looking for them regularly, it's probably maybe 40 or 50 pairs of them. But if you go into the Wanilla Conservation Park, you'll see a few of them there. Really nice. It is. A pretty bird. Scarlet robin. That's the male. All happy with that? Yep. This is an odd one. It's closely related to the robin. And you get it all over EP, and you have to go looking. You'll hear their call. Lovely range of calls. If you imitate that call, I'll come over to you. Where you've got that nice low melaleuca, the broom bush scrub, you often find them stuck in there. Thick understory. They do a nice... Anyway, be aware of them. They're all around us. And yeah, they're actually not too shy. They'll come up and say hello. It would. Southern scrub robin. So it's a scrub robin rather than a robin. Slightly different. Longer tail, bit bigger bird. Quite long legs. And there's a northern scrub robin right up the top. This is the common one for EP, and it's always here, whereas the other two, the crimson and the orange, are more springtime now and then to breed. And you get them out over those samphire wetlands, but you also get them up into the chenopod shrublands, blue bush country, that sort of stuff. Yeah. Yeah, really distinctive. The male in particular. But not big, yeah. The male's quite distinctive. The female's a bit plainer. All got it? White-fronted chat? Yeah. Okay, we finished a bit early this week. Just before everyone packs up and runs away though, is there anyone who's likely to need a hand to order some binos if they want to next week?